My name is Ryan and I'm in recovery. I thought I'd answer this question from Jordan. What made you want to isolate and not contact or ignore people? I have a relative that does the same. I think for me, for all my years of using, I'm 38, I've been using since a teenager, so it's taken many different forms. Recreational was, I did it socially for many years with friends and at festivals and parties and things like that. But kind of during the peak of my using, and I guess when it was most problematic, was always by myself. It was never with alcohol. It was never like a fun activity. It would always be that I would order like an 8 for a quarter of Coke, and then I would literally go home, double lock my door, put the blinds down, turn the lights down, and just kind of sit and work my way through it, and spend most of that time feeling paranoid, feeling like I was having a heart attack, having like lots of dark thoughts about myself. And I think a lot about why I kind of habitually did that, despite it not being this fun experience. And I think the main thing for me is that I think, as I've explained in some of the other videos, it's like, if you're existed in the world and you're kind of interacting with people, but you maybe feel like you're not being your genuine self, you're kind of masking, you end up, I don't know, for me personally, I think that was maybe a bit tiring, and to be able to kind of lock myself away was an escape from that. I could kind of lock my door and not have anyone expecting anything of me. I didn't have to perform a certain way or meet any expectation from anyone else. I could just sit by myself, and as much as it was, not that fun, it was, I guess, some sort of like safe space for me. It kind of became that. And through like therapy and the different things, different like rehab and stuff like that, I've discussed this a lot with people, and that's kind of what I've concluded. And again, that's a bit like when I've explained in other videos as well. It's not, my triggers aren't going out to the pub. They aren't drinking alcohol. It's not that. It's more like my emotion, and how my kind of, I guess, my inability to kind of manage my emotion, reaching for a substance to numb it rather than being able to sit with it and kind of process it. That's a big thing for me, and it's a big learning curve for me. Being in recovery is kind of learning how to sit with feelings and not reach for a substance to numb them. The last video I did was about not finding an alcohol trigger and still drinking, and people just can't seem to get their head around that. But it's, for years and years and years, cocaine it hasn't been a social thing for me. Like, I would literally go to the pub and then I would not use with friends. I would go and then I'd go home afterwards, and that was when I would use. I would, like, once I was by myself and kind of lock my door, that was when I would turn to a substance. It wouldn't be out in pubs or out socially. That was like that the case when I was younger, but for the last 4 or 5 years since COVID, it's been that I use it to kind of escape, to turn my brain off, to kind of get away from the world. And the reason I would, I guess, not contact people or ignore people when they try to contact me is because of the shame around that as well. Like, it didn't feel like a normal behaviour to go home and just sit and do loads of Coke and do so much that I'd feel like I was having a heart attack, or I wouldn't be able to talk, or I'd struggle to breathe. I didn't want people seeing me in that state, so I would turn my phone off, or ignore phone calls, not reply to messages, stuff like that. And the more I did it, the more big it became. It kind of almost became like this big thing that I couldn't control, that was bigger than me, and I just felt so ashamed of it. I just kept it secret from everyone.